In this corner, weighing in at 20,000 tons, Godzilla, king of the monsters. And in this corner, with his size increased to 147 feet just so it could be a fair fight, King Kong, the 8th wonder of the world! Wow, I have now topped the Why So Serious intro from my Dark Knight review. So yes, this is King Kong vs. Godzilla, probably Godzilla's most famous movie. I said probably. And the first time both these monsters were in color and widescreen. So long before I saw a single Godzilla or King Kong movie, I remember walking through Blockbuster and I was too scared to watch them, but I would always love looking at the VHS cover art for the movies. So, later on in life, when I got the courage to see some Godzilla movies and the original King Kong, I noticed there was a box in the K section that said King Kong vs. Godzilla, and I was like, what? They already made a movie? They already made a crossover movie of King Kong and Godzilla? I have to see this! So, my parents rented it, we went home, I watched it, and I mean, it was the US version. Okay, before I get into that, what's the movie about besides King Kong and Godzilla fighting each other? Well, the movie is about a drug company's owner who is frustrated with the fact that the show his company is sponsoring is doing bad, like getting really horrible ratings. So he comes up with the crazy idea of getting a monster to basically boost ratings. So he sends 2 of his employees to Faroe Island, where he was told the monster resides, and he orders them to bring it back to Japan. Because isn't that always a good idea? Bringing a giant monster to Japan? Genius. Meanwhile, an American submarine crashes into an iceberg near the Arctic. And unfortunately for them, it happens to be the very same iceberg that Godzilla was buried in at the end of Godzilla Raids Again. So Godzilla's free! And he's returning to Japan. At the same time, the monster from Faroe Island, which we discover is King Kong, is brought to Japan days after Godzilla's arrival. The two have a brief encounter, they do their separate thing, and then they meet up again in Mount Fuji for a big showdown. So if you're thinking, the plot sounds ridiculous, well, this movie was intended to be a comedy, particularly when it comes to the human characters. I mean, even Godzilla and King Kong's suits look a bit cartoonish. I mean, look at Kong's suit, it just looks so ridiculous. And Godzilla looks a little less menacing than he did in the last 2 movies. But you know what, despite goofy-looking Godzilla and Kong suits, and despite the movie playing out like a comedy from the human side of things, comedy actually kinda works in a sense, but only in the Japanese version. The American version just seems... which really, the American version is the only problem I have with this movie. They put in a bunch of scenes with the UN, like, they're like playing a big part in Godzilla's return and Kong's arrival, when really they just sit on their asses and say, whoa, Godzilla was created from a T-Rex and a Stegosaurus, and there's some bullshit about them using the atom bomb as a method to get rid of Godzilla. One character even says the bomb would be more destructive than Godzilla itself, which no shit is because the bomb wouldn't even harm Godzilla. I mean, like Gigantus the Fire Monster, I mean, it does have stock music, but this time it's actually from good movies and classics like Wolfman and Creature from the Black Lagoon. However, it just doesn't fit the tone of this movie. Plus, you lose extra points for replacing an Akira Ifukube score, which... It's sad that we in the United States have never gotten to hear this score until 2006 when they released the original score in the States. And it's really a great score. Hopefully we can get a copy of the Japanese version, because I've actually seen the Japanese version through a region-free DVD on eBay. The only problem that the Japanese version really seems to have is with American actors. The Japanese version of the American submarine crew actually sound worse than in the dubbed American version. There's a scene where they see the iceberg, and one of the guys tells the captain that there's an iceberg straight ahead. In the US version, he says it like this: "Captain, I see a strange light behind the iceberg, straight ahead." So that's, I mean, not great, but it's fine. In the Japanese version, it's this: "Captain, I see a strange light behind the iceberg, straight ahead." I mean, it's just like, what the fuck? That Larry the Cable Guy type voice should not be able to come out of a submarine authority figure thing. But, I mean, and the captain sounds like, what? Sort of like Mark Wahlberg, like, no, it's okay. Or, yeah, sort of like Mark Wahlberg in stuff. But, I mean, it's like you do not expect those kind of voices to come out of submarine crew. I mean, the dubbed versions of them sound boring, but at least they're the kind of voices you'd expect out of them. I mean, whatever the case, that's only the main problem the Japanese version suffers from. Other than that, the Japanese version is really good. Is it the ultimate Godzilla King Kong Rumble that people imagine when they hear the words King Kong vs. Godzilla? No, it's not, but it'll do good. I mean, it's entertaining enough that you'll like it, and some of the human characters, while not particularly interesting, are likable. I think that's probably due to Honda's direction again, because this is the same director that directed the first Godzilla, and who directs many more after this. So I'm gonna give it 2 ratings. For the Japanese version, it's worth seeing in your lifetime. It's entertaining, it has flaws, and the goofiness of the Godzilla and Kong suits might turn people off, but it's not. In my opinion, it's not bad. The US version, on the other hand, I think is bad. I mean, replacing the Ifukube score is a crime in a sense, because he's basically the Japanese John Williams in a sense. He's composed more memorable themes than any other composer in Japan. And having his score replaced by music that is good is just kind of... It's kind of upsetting. So for the US version, I suggest you don't waste your money. I mean, it didn't bring any anger like Gigantus the Fire Monster did, but it's kind of disappointing in a sense. So, I mean, that's basically all I have to say about King Kong vs. Godzilla. I will be back soon with my review for another versus movie in which Godzilla fights one of Toho's own creations. So, till then, I will see you guys later. Bye.